Oh, my goodness. Gotta love life. Just gotta love life. There's a power in the universe, a power for good, greater than you, greater than I, and we can use it. That's the cornerstone of this philosophy. But better yet, Dr. Tom said, I love you and I accept your love. We have such a Sunday service here, it just blows me away. Every week I got to breathe. The amount of time that we all spend here to create this wonderful sanctuary for each and every one of you is truly a labor of love. So my talk title is, So, You're Lost? Have you ever felt like that? What the hell am I doing here? What's going on? I felt like that plenty of times growing up. I've had a unique childhood, and anybody who was raised in the military probably knows. Every 3 years, I was in someplace new, always having to create new friends, to be an extrovert, to come up to new people and say hello. But I also grew up an only child, for the most part, until my dad remarried and had stepbrothers and stepsisters and half-brothers and half this and, a montage of family. But for the most part, in my house, I was the only one there. So if something broke, guess who got blamed? Poor William. Poor William is right, I tell you what. But it's that life, that journey, that brought me to this place. So like I was saying earlier, how many times have you thought, what am I doing here? What's going on? I've got this plan set up in my head about what my life is supposed to be, but I'm not quite there yet. Or maybe you have the thought of, this is what my life needs to be, that house with the white picket fence and the 3.5 kids. I wonder how that happens. Where's that half a kid? I don't know. But you're not quite there yet. It's that journey. It's that path that we all take. Science of Mind, page 52, paragraph 3. By conscious thinking, we give conscious direction to it, meaning spirit, the universe. And it, consciously or unconsciously, responds to our advance along the line of our consciousness or subjective direction. So here we are on this life's journey, this life's path, and direction. That paragraph shows up to me, and that's the word that really resonates with me, direction. Yes, there's spirit, there's that all-inclusive creative power in the universe. But it's waiting for each and every one of us to give it direction. So it's those thoughts, that consciousness that we give it, that allows it to create. But it also says subconscious too. How many times have you gone through life and the day is almost done and you've gone, where did it go? What did I do? At least for me, I know that when that happens to me, I know that I was living that day in a subconscious realm. I was not conscious. I was not being active in my life. I was being reactive to the world around me. Has that ever happened to you? Second part of this. It has been proved that by thinking correctly and by the conscious mental use of the law of mind, we can cause it to do definite things for us, through us. Every single week we talk about that. That's what this philosophy is about. And it amazes me that every single week we basically come and boil it down to that one thing. What we think about, we bring about. But Dr. Laura, Dr. Dale always brings their spin on it, tells their story, which unlocks that key to maybe going, hey, I can relate with that. I can see myself in that situation. So if they can do it, I can too. And that's what I love about this philosophy. And that's why I stand up here. Because believe me, this journey wasn't on my roadmap. Quite the opposite. I stayed away from places like this growing up. In fact, I made it a conscious effort raising my kids that this type of place I wasn't going to be a part of. But the spirituality, the idea, the thinking of right mind, the golden rule, those are things I instilled into my kids, and I lived that life. And it was only until I came here where I heard this philosophy that opened up my mind and my heart. It really opened up my heart. That's why I have to breathe so much up here. It brought me to a place of joy and wonderment to see all of life in its beauty. Even the not so good stuff, I can see beauty in it because I recognize the divinity, the power which all of this is being created is from a singularity of consciousness. Through a collective application of that singularity comes the diversity of life. There we go. God, I love doing talks because I have no clue what I'm going to say. But I love it. I amaze myself sometimes. So what really is the destination? I mean, we grow up with that roadmap, that white picket fence, or, mom and dad says you got to go to the right college, this college, or you got to be a doctor, you got to be a lawyer. I remember growing up, going to the Army-Navy game and being told, you're going to be going to the Citadel. Even at that age, I was like going, yeah, right. I get enough military at home. You think I'm going to go to college and go through boot camp and stuff like that? Are you kidding me? I got enough of that. I can't wait till I get 18 and get out of this place. But anyway, I digress. But it's that journey, that destination. We think we have that idea, but how many of us have had that destination implanted into us of what our life needs to be by our parents, by our friends, by, heck, even teachers or even friends? How many times have you bought into their roadmap? There is no such place, and this is for me. What really is the destination? There is no such place. I think life is experiential. When you can look at life like that there's not that destination. It's just that experience. As you drive along, remember sitting in the car? I don't know how many of you went on road trips when you were a kid. I was sitting in the back of the station. You remember the station wagons that had the back seat where it faced backwards? God, I love that. And doing, what was it? It was the bug. Every time you saw a beetle bug, you sock somebody in the arm. Oh God, the days, love that. But I digress. Life is experiential. It's not a destination. It's the experience along your journey that creates and gives you context of life. Now, I didn't have the easiest life, but I also know that I didn't have the hardest. But every single instance, every single memory that I have, whether it was positive or negative, I choose to make it positive for the next person down the line. So my negative experience that I may have had, I twist it. I make it a positive because I know that this is not correct. But by seeing the other side of the coin, I can help somebody through that difficult time by putting a positive spin on a negative effect. There's another good one. People often talk about the roadmap of life. And what brought this talk to me was I was watching one of those Good Morning America, CBS Mornings or something like that, and one of the hosts was talking about their teacher, how they went back and who inspired them. And this particular, and I forget what the gentleman's name, but he had Tourette's, and he had some issues and stuff like that. And so this particular teacher who inspired him to become who he was, as far as a speaker and being on TV and stuff like that, she saw something in him, that he had a cadence, a power within him. And even though he would not open up to her and let her know what's really going on, she had the insight to know that there was something there. And she said this: if you don't like the road you're on, change your map. Maps change all the time. Before this talk, I used to think that, okay, maps are just, that's it. Once you make a map, that's it. This is the blueprint. Nothing changes. But how often has it changed? Well, here's a picture of America back in the 1492 or something like that. And you see how, look at the Gulf of Mexico. Holy mackerel, it goes all the way up to Alaska. But that was the map back then. That was the end-all, be-all if you were a merchant. This is how you got to places. But then over time, it changed. The Great Lakes got a little bit more uniform. Michigan, you can now see Michigan, while in the last one you couldn't really see it. And this was back in, I believe that's before that, that's 1800s. That map right there is basically in the 1800s. So you see how the map, there's more detail, more information given. And then here's the United States back in 1945 or something like that. But you notice that Alaska and Hawaii are just territories. Not until 49, I think. Yeah, 49 was when the two states became part of, and we became the 50 states of America. But I wanted to show that even though you think you have a roadmap to your life that you may have been given by your parents or friends, you have the ability, or better yet, how about the obligation to change your map if you're not happy with it? So change your map. Carl Jung, the quantum phenomenon now forces us to think that the basis of material world is non-material, and that there is a realm of the world that we can't see because it doesn't consist of material things, but of non-material forms. Our philosophy talks, and Dr. Joe talks about, great, now I'm starting to get lost. Oh well, enjoy the journey. Every single thought already exists in the mind of God. Even back when there was cavemen, the idea of lasers, the idea of flight was already there, present in the mind of God. Because God is all-inclusive. It's omnipotent. It's only when we became equal to allowing it to manifest and come into form does it become a reality in 3 dimensions. That's truly all quantum physics is about. We are now, through scientific measurements, realizing that there is this ethereal nothingness by which all matter is created. And over time, it becomes a reality. Now, Carl Jung also talked about, where he didn't really had something to do with evolution and how that's either is or isn't part of the equation. But how about food for thought on this? I like the idea of evolution through this because Carl Jung says, and Ernest Holm, and the Transcendentalists know that the mind creates. Isn't evolution just the natural process of thought becoming form? So when you see those documentaries of that bird on some secluded island that's got to have its beak grow and bend to fit into a particular flower that it likes, even though that bird doesn't have the consciousness of self like we do, the idea of that bird wanting or desiring something allowed the universe to manifest and to allow its beak to grow, to conform, to get that which it needed and wanted. So if a bird can do it, people, so can you. Ernest Holmes says this: when people begin to realize that we are living in a mental universe or a spiritual universe, they have to rethink all of their philosophy. That ties back into Carl Jung. Your thoughts. And every single week it seems like we talk about the same thing, but it's so true, people. And I've got to hear it too. I get lost. I act like I don't know what I'm doing half the time. But I enjoy the ride, just like the song. I could make $1 million or wind up broke. But free and easy, down the road I go. I'm free and I'm easy. I'm free because I have the mental capacity to think and to desire and to create. My mind is free to create that reality. And going down the road easy, I just allow it to be. I don't have to control spirit. I don't have to designate X, Y, Z, how to put it together. I just know and trust spirit is always there waiting for me to put a demand upon it. It's spirit's job to make it a reality. And it's my job and it's your job to have the experience. Because by you having your experience of this life, you are giving back to spirit. Spirit has no form. It is there. It is energy. It is the power of the universe. But our interactions with each other, the love that we give each other, is the experience that spirit is looking for. Spirit may be just an energy, but it's an energy that each and every one of us has a connection to. Whether you believe it or not, it's a fact. And I'm just going to put it out there. We're taught here not to tell you what to think, but how to think. But I'm going to tell you that right now. You are a creative process of spirit. So if you don't like the road you're on, change your map. That's how I got here. I started off going, spirituality, organized religion, I'm not having any of that. I'm going off on this way, on this road, this path. But through the course of life, it brought me back to this because there's that yearning inside of me, that spiritual self that each and every one of us has. So if you feel lost, listen to that intuitive self inside of you. You just might find that, just like some of those movies where they're walking on a path, but all of a sudden in the jungle, all of a sudden it just starts to open up and a path is created and shown forth. You have a choice, people. You have a fork in the road. Every single day, there's a fork in the road. You can either go on the path that you were thinking that you needed to go on because you were told to go on that path, or this other one can catch your eye, and that explorer within you, that inquisitive self, that God essence of discovery awakens. And you go down that path and find out where it leads. You just might find it leads you to a better place than what you thought you were going to. So, you're lost. It's not a statement, it's a question. Are you lost? Or are you just not sure what road to go down? Today is the beginning of the rest of your life. Take a look at that map. Does it serve you? Is it having you go in the direction that you think that you want to go? Or is there that divine self, that divine essence within you that wants to go and explore and to figure out and to experience life differently? How about let's use that map? That divine spiritual map that's inside of you that each and every one of us has. By having and using that map, talk about the world of possibilities. Every single one of us is an example to someone else. The pebbles that I toss out into the lake, like Dr. Joe says, those ripples, I have no idea of the ripples that I'm creating today, how they affect people tomorrow or later today. But that's not mine to worry about. It's my job to be the best person I can be, to be in a spiritual alignment, to enjoy my ride, to enjoy my experience of life, so that I may be a beacon to each and every one of you to say, yeah, see what William did? I can do even better. Watch me. You have that capability. Because if I can do it, I know that each and every one of you can do it. So, you're lost? No, you're not lost. You've been using the wrong map, people. Get your map out. Open it up. Enjoy this life. Be a beacon of love for those around you. Thank you. So now please prepare.